Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Chandra Jaya Gaura
Jaya
Bhakta
Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda
Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta
श्री
Vrinda
चैतन्य भागवत की जय। श्रील वृंदावन दास ठाकुर की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to today's Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat reading. We are reading from Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Antya Khanda. I believe it's chapter 3. So we've been reading about Mahaprabhu's stay at Advaita Acharya's home on the way back from Ramkeli to Jagannath Puri. And while Mahaprabhu stayed there, he stayed for a few days. While he was staying there, the disappearance day of Madhavendra Puri appeared. And Advaita Acharya, although Advaita Acharya and Madhavendra Puri are non-different in the sense both are Param Bhagavat Vaishnavas, but still Madhavendra Puri is the spiritual master and Advaita Acharya is the disciple. So in that context, we saw a drop of the glory of Madhavendra Puri. How Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu resided in the body of Madhavendra Puri, and also that at every moment he was always in absorption. There were all ecstatic symptoms were manifest in his body at every moment. And hardly ever would you see him in external consciousness. He was never in external consciousness. And Madhavendra Puri had appeared, and all this was happening way before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's advent. When in the society you could not see any Krishna prema, any Krishna bhakti. There was no Sankirtan. People were materialistic. They were worshipping, even those who call themselves religious, they were only interested in material acquisitions, material opulence and enjoyment. So they would worship the demigods, especially goddess Chandi, and then they would enjoy, wealth, opulence, wine, meat eating, like that. The most pious people, you would maybe at the time of taking bath, they would say Krishna, Pundarikaksha, like that. That's the only time you would hear. And what to speak of those who spoke on Srimad Bhagavatam. Never would the word bhakti come to their lips while speaking on Srimad Bhagavatam. They were teachers of Srimad Bhagavatam, but they would never say that devotional service to Lord Vishnu is the essence. So this was the state. And Madhavendra Puri felt so sorry seeing the condition. Wherever he went, whoever he met, nobody was interested in devotional service. And he would meet other sannyasis, because Madhavendra Puri was a sannyasi himself. He would meet other sannyasis and they would also say that Namo Narayanaya, right? I am Narayan, you are Narayan, like that. Madhavendra Puri was disgusted. He would meet yogis, right? And yogis also were not into bhakti. So finally he thought, I won't live amongst people. I'll go and live in the jungle, right? Nobody has any bhakti. So he was not interested in spending even a moment, a sesame seed's worth of time with any person. Because nobody had Krishna bhakti. If there was no Krishna bhakti, he was not interested. So he left to live in the forests. So, like this, uh, he happened to, by the Lord's arrangement, meet Advaitacharya. How he met Advaitacharya? He happened to come to Advaitacharya's home. How, we don't know. And then seeing Advaitacharya, Advaitacharya was a grihastha. And he was also, a great Vaishnava, and the society's condition was the same. Advaitacharya was also very concerned, not seeing pure devotional service anywhere. He was also very concerned. But he didn't leave home and go to the forest. Rather, like a lion, he would preach to everyone about pure devotional service. He would hold classes, and he would explain every scripture uh, indicating towards pure devotional service. He would speak on Bhagavad Gita. All the verses are actually speaking about pure devotional service, exactly like our Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada's translations and purports, each and every verse you will see is actually indicating towards pure devotional service, nothing else. Not about karma, not about jnana, not about yoga. Every verse is talking about, is directing us toward pure devotional service. Advaitacharya would preach like that. So, when he saw Madhavendra Puri, he saw the symptoms of pure devotional service on his body, his ecstasies, and immediately he recognized. Imagine, nobody was even chanting the names of Krishna, and here was a devotee who was manifesting. Remember, these symptoms we see only in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's person. And Advaita Acharya was seeing, all of a sudden it's like an oasis in the desert, right? And he immediately offered obeisances. So that was the meeting of Madhavendra Puri and Advaita Acharya. I think it is said they embraced each other and Madhavendra Puri sprinkled Advaita Acharya with the tears of his love, like that. And then, of course, Advaita Acharya accepted initiation from Madhavendra Puri. So every year, Advaita Acharya observed the day, a festival honoring Madhavendra Puri. It's the disappearance day of Madhavendra Puri. And he would offer everything he had for that festival. It was such a grand festival. So that is what we were reading yesterday. This year, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu happened to be in Advaita Acharya's home when this day, the festival day of Madhavendra Puri, arrived. And what were the arrangements? Practically, rooms were filled with all the bhoga that was going to be used for the offering. There were like several rooms filled with rice, several rooms filled with banana leaves, several rooms filled with, pots, clay pots, dal, like that. And how all these arrangements were being made, nobody knows. All of a sudden, people started bringing something like Govardhan Puja, right? Annakut festival, like that. People just started bringing everything. And then there would be a grand festival. So let's continue reading about the arrangements for this festival. The Lord, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is observing this festival there. Observing means he's witnessing. He's witnessing how the arrangements are being made. The Lord saw 2 or 4 rooms filled with flat rice, chipped rice. The Lord saw a great pile of thousands and thousands of bananas. I do not know how many coconuts, betel nuts, or betel leaves there were, or from where they all came. I do not know how many rooms were filled with potal squashes, potal, eggplants, kodas, alus, and shak. Now, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, Acharyas, when they write, they're actually seeing the whole thing and then they're putting it down. They're actually there, right, witnessing. So Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, so far he gave some numbers, 4 rooms, 5 rooms filled with this and that. Now he's saying, I don't even have a count of how many rooms there are filled with all these different various types of vegetables, fruits, bananas, coconuts, betel nuts, betel leaves. And where did they all come from? Right? Advaita Acharya is a Brahmana. Where are all these ingredients coming from? Nobody knew. They were just appearing. People were just bringing. So, I do not know how many rooms were filled with potal squashes, eggplants, khodas, alus, and shak. The Lord saw thousands and thousands of jars, thousands and thousands of jars of milk, cream, yogurt, sugar canes, and mung sprouts. Thousands of jars. The Lord saw many jars. Talk about opulence, right? We think we are very opulent now and we are making advancement, and people were primitive back then. Look at the opulence. Thousands and thousands of jars of milk and cream and yogurt and sugar canes and mung sprouts. The Lord saw many jars of oil. Must be mustard oil, maybe even sesame oil. Oh, where did I go? Okay, I'm going backwards, I think. 260. The Lord saw many jars of oil, salt, and ghee. Everything was numberless. You couldn't even count how many jars there were. Everything was numberless. I do not have the power to write how many there were. And, and this is not an exaggeration. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is not a materialistic person that would just exaggerate something, right? Our acharyas, when they write something, they are very, very particular, very, very specific, quoting from this shastra, this verse. They don't just make any statements like that haphazardly. No. So if Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying, I cannot even count how many there are, he actually means there are so many that it is impossible for him to count. So many jars of oil, ghee, salt, everything was numberless. I do not have the power to write how many there were. Seeing these, because I mean, for devotees, is it a difficult thing to understand? No, it is not, because the Lord is unlimited. Everything about him is unlimited. Just look at his creation. You look in the lawn, can you count how many blades of grass there are? This is his creation, material creation. Everything is unlimited. Now look at your hair, your own hair. Can you count how many hairs there are on your head, on your body? Impossible. Nobody can. This is the Lord's Achintya Shakti. So, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying, I don't have the power to write how many there were. Material calculation is everything is limited and we want everything inside the box. And that is our disease, right? So when we talk about the Supreme Lord also, we want everything inside the box. Everything should fit into my logic. Everything should fit into my little brain. Then I will accept it. If it does not fit, I don't accept it. If I don't accept it, who's the loser? I am the loser, isn't it? The Lord is not going to lose anything. He is still unlimited. So For devotees, there's no problem at all accepting. Difficulties for those who don't have faith. So I don't have the power to write how many there were. Seeing these elaborate arrangements beyond what a human being could do, Lord Chaitanya felt wonder in his heart, right? How could a human being arrange so many things, or even a bunch of human beings arrange this? How? It was beyond anyone's capacity. And Mahaprabhu seeing all this arrangement, and he felt wonder in his heart. Lord Chaitanya said, a human being cannot have such opulence. In my heart, I think Advaita Acharya must be Lord Shiva himself, right? How is it possible for a human being to have such opulence? Only Lord Shiva has opulence like this. Therefore, I think, this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying, therefore, I think Advaita Acharya is Lord Shiva descended to this world. Smiling, Lord Chaitanya spoke these words again and again. In this way, Lord Chaitanya indirectly spoke the truth about Advaita Acharya. The fact is, yes, Advaita Acharya is Lord Shiva, Sadashiva, right? And Mahavishnu. So Mahaprabhu was saying, my God, look at this opulence. You must be Lord Shiva. Like how, you just make a statement. But Mahaprabhu kept saying it again and again and again. This type of opulence is not possible for any human being. It's only possible for Lord Shiva. So Advaita Acharya must be Lord Shiva, right? So we would think, oh, it was just said like, glorification or kind of, like joking. But actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke the truth about Advaita Acharya in an indirect way. Pious persons accept his words with great joy. Before anyone who does not honor these words, Lord Advaita appears as a blazing fire. Although by nature, so anyone who is offensive, who doesn't accept the words of the Lord, to them Advaita Acharya appears like blazing fire, right? Annihilation. Lord Shiva does his Tandav Nritya at the time of annihilation, right? And at the time of annihilation, first there is so much heat, blazing fire, like that. So before anyone who does not honor these words, Lord Advaita appears as a blazing fire. Although by nature he is pleasantly cooling like millions of moons, to persons who have turned away from Lord Chaitanya, Advaita Acharya becomes like the fire of time, a fire that devours the universe. Right? Chaitanya Maha. Anyone who does not accept Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or in other words, somebody says, I am a devotee of Lord Shiva. We are Shaivites, and they uh, minimize the devotees of Lord Vishnu. Right? We are Shaivites, you are Vaishnavas, and then there is a fight. The person that they are worshipping, those who call themselves devotees of Lord Shiva, Lord Shiva himself destroys them if that's their mood. Lord Shiva won't tolerate Vaishnava aparad. He won't tolerate. So, um, therefore, here, who is Lord Vishnu here? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Advaita Acharya is Lord Shiva. So, here it is said to persons who have turned away from Lord Chaitanya, particularly Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most munificent, most merciful incarnation. Only the most unfortunate, wretched person would not, would criticize Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? So anyone who turns away from Lord Chaitanya, Advaita Acharya becomes like the fire of time, a fire that devours the universe. Even without knowing the truth of Lord Shiva, a person who once chants Lord Shiva's holy name becomes at once cleansed of all sins. That is the mercy of Lord Shiva. You don't know any glories of Lord Shiva. You simply say Shiva. The very word Shiva means all auspicious. So anyone without knowing who Lord Shiva is, he just utters the name Shiva. So this is the advantage of taking birth in a family, coming from the Vedic culture. You get names like Shiva, Rama, Krishna. Unknowingly also, when people call you by that name, then they are becoming free from their sins. They are becoming cleansed of all sins. So anyone without knowing the truth of Lord Shiva, he just chants the name Lord Shiva, he becomes cleansed of all sins. This is the mercy of Lord Shiva. So he's as cooling as millions of moons. He's very, very pleasing, very, very kind. This truth the Vedas, the Srimad Bhagavatam, and all the scriptures say. Anyone who is not happy to hear Lord Shiva's holy name is thrown into an ocean of calamities. So it works vice versa. Anyone who turns away from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Shiva becomes very angry with that person. He burns that person, right? And anyone who criticizes Lord Shiva, who is not happy to hear the name of Lord Shiva, as soon as you hear the name of Lord, oh Shiva, he's a demigod, like that. Anyone who becomes unhappy, or oh, he lives in the crematorium and this and that, he's with the ghosts, like Daksha was making some comments. Anyone who is not happy to hear the name of Lord Shiva, then Lord Shiva is a great Vaishnava. Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna will not tolerate that, right? So anyone who is not happy to hear Lord Shiva's holy name is thrown into an ocean of calamities. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Sati, the consort of Lord Shiva, declares, यद् यद्व्यक्षरं नाम जिरेरितं नृणां सकृत् प्रसङ्गादघमाशु हन्ति तत् पवित्रकीर्तिं तमलङ्घ्य शासनं भवान् अहो द्वेष्टि शिवं शिवेतरः. So Sati is speaking to her father Daksha. My dear father, you are committing the greatest offense by envying Lord Shiva, whose very name, consisting of two syllables, Shi and Va, purifies one of all sinful activities. His order is never neglected. Lord Shiva is always pure, and no one but you envies him. Right? He's so loving, he's so kind, so merciful. Nobody can hate Lord Shiva except an envious person like you. With his own graceful mouth, Lord Krishna declares, how can anyone who does not worship Lord Shiva worship me? Right? Lord Krishna is saying, how can anyone who does not worship Lord Shiva worship me? In other words, Lord Shiva is a great Vaishnava. Lord Shiva also acts as a guru who brings people to Krishna. So can we, supersede, jump over the guru, jump over a Vaishnava and directly go to Krishna? It's not possible. So Lord Krishna is saying, how can anyone who does not worship Lord Shiva, that means who has any bad feelings toward Lord Shiva, how can you worship the Supreme Lord? It's not possible. How can anyone who does not honor Lord Shiva, who's so dear to me, attain true devotion to me? Lord Krishna declares, Katham va mai bhaktim sa labhatam papa purushaha yo madiyam param bhaktam shivam sampujayen nahi. A person who does not worship my great devotee Lord Shiva is a sinner. How will he attain devotion to me? So here what we should understand about worshipping Lord Shiva, now it doesn't mean that you should actually have a deity of Lord Shiva and start worshipping Lord Shiva. That is not what is recommended. But those who are inimical, envious of Lord Shiva, right, or minimize Lord Shiva's position, and think that because we are devotees of Lord Vishnu, we don't care for Lord Shiva, like that. When anyone has that type of mentality, who doesn't see Lord Shiva as worshipable, right, as a superior, then such a person can never get true devotion to Krishna. In fact, you will see in any Vaishnava temple, there will be Lord Shiva, like a protector. In dhams, all dhams, with different names. Gopeshwar Mahadev, Kshetrapal Shiva, here also. In Mayapur, Navadip, you will see every place, right? In all temples, you will see there is a Shivalinga outside. He is protecting the dham. He is a great Vaishnava. So how will Lord Vishnu tolerate, Lord Krishna tolerate anyone criticizing or offending his devotee? He won't tolerate. So here, who is Lord Shiva? Advaita Acharya. That is why we are discussing Lord Shiva. A person who does not worship my great devotee Lord Shiva is a sinner. How will he attain devotion to me. That is why all the demigods happily worship Lord Krishna first and then Lord Shiva. In the Skanda Purana it is said, Prathamam Keshavam Pujam Kritva Deva Maheshwaram Pujaniya Mahabhaktya Ye Chanye Santi Devataha. First, one should worship Lord Krishna with great devotion. Then one should worship Lord Shiva. Then one should worship the other demigods. So, amongst all the demigods, Lord Shiva is the greatest. He's the greatest. So, just like when we worship, when we perform arati, of course, first of all, we offer arati to the spiritual master. The understanding is we don't have the authority, we don't have the eligibility to render direct service to the Supreme Lord. Only someone who is dear to the Supreme Lord can offer service to the Lord, right? In fact, it is said one who's on the same level as the Lord. That means who's on the Vishuddha Sattva platform, who is in the state of pure goodness. Such a person can render direct service to the Supreme Lord. We are still in the conditioned state, but we are given an opportunity to render devotional service. So whatever we want to offer to the Lord, we put it in the hand of the spiritual master. And the spiritual master also sees himself as unqualified. He puts it in the hand of his spiritual master. And he puts in the hand of his spiritual master. And in this way, ultimately, it is offered to, right? And then Nityananda Prabhu is the original Guru. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srimati Radharani is offering to Krishna. Like that. That is the way when we make an offering. So first of all, the offering is made to Krishna. Even if you're making the offering to Nityananda Prabhu and Gaurang Mahaprabhu, of course, they are non-different. But the idea to Guru, the idea is they're offering it to Krishna. Through them, you're offering the item to Krishna. So first of all, the worship is offered to Krishna. And then Krishna's remnants, Krishna's mercy, right? Now you offer it to all the assembled Vaishnavas. That's the way. You offer it to all the assembled Vaishnavas. So amongst the assembled Vaishnavas also, if you want to go into detail, so when you go take the Aarti around, you give it to the most exalted person first, isn't it? If there is a guru, if there is a sannyasi, you offer him first of all, you take it to Srila Prabhupada. The lamp is offered to Srila Prabhupada. He's the senior most and most exalted in the assembly. On the altar, you offer it to Srila Prabhupada as Guru. And then Srila Prabhupada, like that. But then after, when you're offering it to the assembled Vaishnavas, first you offer it to Srila Prabhupada on the Vyasasana. And then to all the other assembled Vaishnavas. So similarly, here in Skanda Purana, it is said that first of all worship is offered to Krishna and then offered to Lord Shiva because he is the most exalted amongst the demigods, and then to all the other demigods. This is the way. Then one should worship the other demigods. So if somebody asked you what is the quote, it is from Skanda Purana. Okay, this is the verse. In the Skanda Purana it is said, Prathamam Keshavam Pujam Kritva Deva Maheshwaram Pujaniya Mahabhaktya Ye Chanye Santi Devata. After this, Anya Devata, other devatas. First Krishna, then Lord Shiva, then all the other demigods. Because of Lord Chaitanya's hint, the devotees say Advaita Acharya is Lord Shiva. So why we say Advaita Acharya is Lord Shiva? Because Mahaprabhu gave the hint here. Mahaprabhu said such opulence is not possible for anyone except Lord Shiva. Advaita Acharya is Lord Shiva. Advaita Acharya is Lord Shiva. Mahaprabhu himself said, so the devotees got the hint. Therefore they say Advaita Acharya is Lord Shiva. Fools disagree, not understanding Lord Chaitanya's powers, they perish. That means they disagree with the statements of Mahaprabhu. Then what, shelter do they have? They perish. Lord Chaitanya saw all the new cloths. Now, this is all about food. Now, Advaita Acharya also had arrangements. There were new cloths, right? They give gifts, right? Anyone who comes to the festival, after the whole festival, you give them gifts. Usually some cloth is given, betel nuts, betel leaves, bananas, coconuts, garlands, like that. So Lord Chaitanya saw all the new cloths. They had no end. I do not have the power to write how many they were. Seeing the elaborate arrangements, Lord Chaitanya became very happy at heart. Moment after moment, he praised Advaita Acharya. One by one, Lord Chaitanya saw all the arrangements. Then he returned to the Sankirtan room. Also, imagine such a big house Advaita Acharya has, right? So many rooms, so many rooms. When Lord Chaitanya entered the Sankirtan room, the devotees became filled with bliss. I'm just remembering something. I had a classmate when I was in school. They were Bengalis, although this was in South India, but uh, they were Bengalis. So I visited her house once, a couple of times, and I think they actually migrated from Bangladesh. Their ancestors, maybe, right? So I think they even built their house in the traditional style. I was just amazed because it's not a common thing to see so many rooms. They were educated family, working, but only two kids, one girl and one boy. But they had so many rooms in their house, so many, I don't know, like 10 or 20 rooms. And, you know, so she said, and they were all small, small rooms. It's not like a big, big rooms like that. They were all small rooms, but there's a separate room for each activity, right? So her and her brother would sleep. For sleeping, they had one room. For something else, they had music. They do, they play musical instruments. For that, they had a separate room. And then for where they would eat, the two of them, they had one room for that. Where they would study, they had a separate room for that. And where they would play, they had a separate room. And I was thinking, wow, it was amazing. But now when I read about Advaita Acharya, I just remembered that maybe like they have a specific room for each activity. That's what I'm saying. Of course, overall also we have, but kind of now it has become, like you have a living room, a bedroom, a kitchen, and the DT room. I think that's kind of that's it. But yeah, they would have many, many, and they're not like big, big, elaborate, halls or anything, but there is a specific room for each. So here we see there's a Sankirtan room, not just a DT room. DT room is separate, but they have a Sankirtan room, and a room for cloth, a room for the banana leaves, a room for all the oils and ghee, like that. So Mahaprabhu saw all this arrangement and he was amazed. One by one, the Lord saw all the arrangements and then he returned to the Sankirtan room. When Lord Chaitanya entered the Sankirtan room, the devotees were still there. They became filled with bliss. Who danced and sang where? I do not know. Who joyfully leaped and ran where? I do not know. So simply seeing Mahaprabhu, so Sankirtan was going on, right? Like in the temple, you see, when there is, you had recently this. Rath Yatra, in-house Rath Yatra, right? So maybe they had different stalls and all that outside. And then there's one area where there's Sankirtan going on all the time. So let's say there's one exalted, one Maharaj, one Guru, let's say His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj is visiting. Let's imagine. And then Maharaj goes around, right, to each stall, seeing, all the arrangements, and everyone is very happy wherever he goes. And then there's this Sankirtan going on. As soon as Maharaj comes, can you imagine? They will start their Uludhwani and this and that, and all excitement. Mahaprabhu is coming, right? He went to see all the arrangements in the different rooms, and now Mahaprabhu came to the Sankirtan room where Sankirtan was going on. And when they saw Mahaprabhu, they started jumping and leaping, right? Started running around crazily. And Vrindavan Das Thakur says, I don't know who ran where, who said what, like that. So they were completely out of control, basically, when Mahaprabhu entered the Sankirtan room. Hmm? Uh, when Lord Chaitanya entered the Sankirtan room, the devotees became filled with bliss. Who danced and sang where? I do not know. Who joyfully leaped and ran where? I do not know. Everyone made a great sound of Jai Jai. No sound could be heard but Bol Bol Hari Bol. Yeah, we are going pretty slowly, but it's okay. Let's finish it. This chapter is coming to. The Vaishnava's limbs were anointed with sandal paste. The graceful chests, their graceful chests were filled with flower garlands. Just picture the opulence in those days. Nowadays, can we afford to give a garland to every guest? And there were like, how many of them were there? Just looking at the arrangements, you can imagine how many were invited there. And everyone has sandal paste. Can you imagine how costly is sandal paste? They were all anointed with sandal paste, and they were all graced with garlands, fresh flower garlands. The devotees were the Lord's foremost companions. They all sang and danced in Lord Chaitanya's presence. A joyful Sankirtan of Lord Hari's holy names arose. The sound of that Sankirtan purified the numberless worlds. Mm. So the Sankirtan that was going on, it was not just limited to that house or that neighborhood, not just this one planet even. Unlimited number of worlds were purified by the sound of Sankirtan that was performed that day in Advaita Acharya's home in the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Wrapped in the mood of being a small boy, the joyful wrestler, Lord Nityananda, enthusiastically danced. So Lord Nityananda Prabhu has his own mood, a childlike mood, like a small boy, restless boy. So wrapped in the mood of being a small boy, the joyful wrestler, Lord Nityananda, enthusiastically danced. Lord Advaita Acharya was overwhelmed. His dancing did not end, right? Advaita Acharya is making all arrangements for this festival, but he's also in a completely carefree way. He's dancing away, right, in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's presence. He was overwhelmed. Haridas Thakur danced for a long time. All the devotees danced with great joy. That is why Sankirtan, Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, and Anandambudhi Vardhanam, Ananda, right? The highest Ananda is experienced in Sankirtan, and it keeps increasing. It's an ocean of Ananda that keeps increasing, ever increasing. That's why everyone is dancing like anything. Haridas Thakur danced for a long time. All the devotees danced with great joy. When everyone stopped dancing, Lord Chaitanya danced solo. So they danced and danced and danced and danced, and at one point they were tired, I guess, and then they stopped dancing. Like when there is sometimes you have a special speaker, and then everyone is so happy and they start clapping, clapping, clapping. They go on for a long time, and finally it starts dying down because you've done enough, and like you stop. And when everything is dying down, then one person starts all over again. And it goes on and on. So all the devotees were dancing. Advaita Acharya was dancing. Haridas Thakur, Nityananda Prabhu, everyone is dancing, 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 dancing. And then when they stopped, after dancing, dancing, it kind of came down. But Mahaprabhu didn't stop. He kept dancing alone, solo, and everyone is standing and watching Mahaprabhu. When everyone stopped dancing, Mahaprabhu danced solo. First, the devotees danced, then Lord Chaitanya danced solo, and then the Lord and the devotees danced together, right? So then Mahaprabhu was dancing alone, then everyone joined in and they danced together. So, first of all, only the devotees were dancing, seeing Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu seeing the devotees, he got into the mood, right? So, the devotees danced and they stopped, so then Mahaprabhu started dancing, and then seeing Mahaprabhu, they all danced together. Lord Chaitanya danced in the middle and the devotees danced in a circle around him. That's exactly what I was thinking. Like in Kirtans, we do that, right? One devotee comes in the center of the circle and is twirling around and dancing, and everyone is clapping like that. So Lord Chaitanya danced in the middle and the devotees danced in a circle around him. In this way, they spent the whole day singing and dancing. Finally, Lord Chaitanya and his devotees sat down. First, asking permission, Lord Advaita brought in the great feast. That is why Srila Prabhupada says our movement is all about chanting, dancing, and feasting. Bas. Chanting, dancing, and feasting. So they dance all, and you don't spare any, you don't leave any you don't hold back any energy. You give your full when you dance and you chant, right? They danced and danced and danced, and then they sat down to honor prasadam. Advaita Acharya brought in a great feast. Lord Chaitanya sat down to eat. The Lord was in the middle, and around him in the four directions were the devotees, just like Krishna and the cowherd boys, right? When they would have their picnic in the pastures of Vrindavan, in the forests of Vrindavan, Krishna would be sitting in the center, and all the cowherd boys would be sitting in circles around him like this. Mahaprabhu was sitting in the center, and all the devotees were sitting around him in the four directions, right, facing him. In the four directions were the devotees, splendid like a host of stars, and in the middle was Lord Chaitanya, splendid like millions of moons rising together. Not one moon. What we see in the sky is one moon and many stars, but Mahaprabhu was like millions of moons in the center and a host of stars, all the devotees around. For the worship of Madhavendra Puri, Mother Sachi had cooked many kinds of rice, vegetables, and sweets. For the worship of Madhavendra Puri, Mother Sachi had cooked many kinds of rice, vegetables, and sweets. Remember, Sachi Mata is in Shantipur because Advaita Acharya had called that Mahaprabhu is here. So she cooked a feast for Madhavendra Puri. Talking and talking of Madhavendra Puri, Lord Chaitanya and the devotees ate. The Lord said, anyone who honors this feast on the holy day of worshipping Madhavendra Puri will certainly attain true devotion to Lord Krishna. This is the famous statement. Anyone who honors this feast on the holy day of worshipping Madhavendra Puri will certainly attain the true devotion to Lord Krishna. Attain true devotion to Lord Krishna. That is why, as I told you, our ISKCON Mayapur takes devotees with lots of prasadam, khichdi basically, and serves it out, calling all the people, and so many people come from all neighborhood villages, and they honor prasad there in on the festival of Madhavendra Puri, where Advaita Acharya was observing this festival. And the idea is, according to Mahaprabhu's statement, anyone who honors the feast on the day of worshipping Madhavendra Puri, then they will all attain Krishna Prema. In this way, Lord Chaitanya happily ate. Then he went and rinsed his mouth. Then Advaita Acharya brought splendid and fragrant sandal paste and splendid flower garlands and placed them before Lord Chaitanya. Then Lord Chaitanya went to Lord Nityananda. With great love, he anointed Lord Nityananda's limbs with sandal paste and placed a flower garland upon him. One by one, with his own graceful hand, Lord Chaitanya offered sandal paste and a flower garland to each Vaishnava. Accepting this mercy from the Lord's own graceful hand, everyone felt bliss in his heart. Then everyone made a loud sound of Hari. What was the bliss they all felt? I have no power to know or say, right? How much bliss they experienced. Happiness is not the word to be used. Happiness is material. The bliss, ananda that they experienced, I have no power to know. First of all, I don't know. I cannot measure how much ananda they were experiencing. And even if whatever little that I'm able to estimate, I'm not able to say. Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying. Lord Advaita's bliss had no end. The king of Vaikunta had come to his home. How can a mere human being have the power to describe all of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes? Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying, how can a human being describe all of Mahaprabhu's pastimes? He's unlimited. Even with many millions of years to speak, no one can describe even one day of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. The sky has no end. As a bird can fly there as high as it has the power, right? Bird only flies according to its capacity. But can any bird reach the limit of the sky? No. Similarly, the Mahaprabhu's pastimes are like the sky, and anyone who's describing Mahaprabhu's pastimes is like a bird flying. According to its capacity, it will fly. According to his capacity, he will glorify Mahaprabhu. But Mahaprabhu's pastimes have no end. Even if one got millions of lifetimes, millions of years to speak, still he would not be able to describe all the pastimes performed by Mahaprabhu in one day. In the same way, Lord Chaitanya's glories have no end. A person can sing of them as much as the Lord gives him the power. Even what we speak is not our, power. It's not happening by our power. When Mahaprabhu gives words, puts words in our mouth, then we are able to glorify. So we don't have anything to be proud of. We can only be grateful, right? We can be grateful for receiving this gift that He's allowing us. He's giving us the word, He's giving words, He's giving us the intelligence to speak something about Him, to glorify Him. We can only be grateful. We cannot claim any, proprietorship or any uh, we cannot claim anything here. As a puppet master makes a wooden puppet dance, so Lord Chaitanya makes me speak. Who's saying? Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. I do not know the chronology of these events. As far as I'm able, I describe Lord Chaitanya's glories. I bow down before the Vaishnava's feet. I pray that I may never offend them. Anyone who hears these sacred narrations will attain a great wealth of ecstatic love for Lord Krishna. Anyone who hears these narrations will attain a great wealth of ecstatic love for Lord Krishna. That is certain. We heard it recently from Mahaprabhu's own mouth also, right? If you don't want to offend Vaishnavas, what is the best way? The best way is constantly hear and chant Mahaprabhu's glories. Just read Chaitanya Bhagavat, read Bhagavad Gita, read Srimad Bhagavatam. Simply hear and read and speak. Then that tendency, that propensity to blaspheme Vaishnavas will not even take birth in your heart, it is said. Anyone who hears these sacred narrations will attain a great wealth of ecstatic love for Lord Krishna. That is certain. The two moons, Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Sri Nityananda, are my life and soul. I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of their feet. Last time when we read, last weekend when we read, I had actually felt that, only 2 times in a week, it's not sufficient. I want to read Chaitanya Bhagavat every day. But I was just thinking which time. I mean, I could do it during the day, but then your time and all that, right? So, anyway, but sometime we'll do it. Hare
Yes.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, one question.
Mangalarti.
Okay, Mataji, no problem. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Thank you.